You make a purchase you didn't plan for. Something small. Something that felt completely reasonable in the moment. And then you get home, and you wonder why you did it again. The answer isn't weakness. The answer isn't laziness. The real answer is far stranger, and it starts about 200,000 years ago. Your brain was not built for money. It was built for survival. And those two things, it turns out, are almost perfectly at odds with each other. Think about what your ancestors needed to stay alive on the African savanna. They needed to act fast. They needed to grab food when food was available, because food might not be there tomorrow. They needed to fear loss more than they valued gain, because one mistake, one missed predator, one spoiled berry, could end everything. These were the rules that kept them alive. And your brain learned them so deeply that no amount of financial literacy has fully overwritten them. This is what behavioral economists call evolutionary mismatch. Your hardware is ancient. Your environment is brand new. And the gap between them is costing you money every single day. In 2002, the psychologist Daniel Kahneman won the Nobel Prize in economics, not for economics, but for psychology. He and his colleague Amos Tversky spent decades proving something that should have been obvious. Humans are not rational about money. Not even close. They identified a pattern called loss aversion, which says that the pain of losing $20 is roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining $20. Same amount, completely different emotional weight. Your brain treats a loss like a threat to your survival. It triggers the same stress response your ancestors felt when a lion appeared on the horizon. And under that kind of stress, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, goes quiet. You stop thinking about next year. You think about right now. That is why sales work. That is why limited time offer works. That is why a countdown timer on a shopping website makes you buy something you were perfectly fine without 10 minutes ago. It is not manipulation layered onto a rational mind. It is manipulation aimed directly at a brain that still believes scarcity is dangerous. There is a second glitch. It is called present bias, and it might be even more expensive than loss aversion. The economist Richard Thaler, who also won a Nobel Prize, demonstrated that humans dramatically overvalue the present compared to the future. If you offer someone $100 today or $110 next week, most people take the 100 today. That is a 10% return in 7 days. No investment on earth offers that. But the brain does not see it that way. The brain sees the future as abstract and uncertain, and the present as real and immediate. So it discounts the future, sometimes almost completely. This is why saving feels so difficult. You are not choosing between spending and saving. Your brain is choosing between something that feels real right now and something that feels like a rumor about a person you haven't met yet, your future self. That future self feels like a stranger. And you do not sacrifice for strangers. Researchers at UCLA ran a study where they showed participants digitally aged photos of themselves, their own faces, wrinkled and gray, decades into the future. Participants who saw their aged selves immediately allocated significantly more money to retirement savings than participants who saw their current face. They needed to feel that the future self was real, that it was them. Because until that happened, the brain had no reason to care. Now layer on one more thing. Dopamine. Your brain releases dopamine not when you receive a reward, but when you anticipate one. The neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz mapped this in detail in the 1990s. The moment you click Add to Cart, your dopamine spikes. The moment the package arrives, it drops. This is why unboxing feels better than owning. This is why browsing a shopping app feels exciting and the credit card statement does not. Your brain has been hijacked by the promise of reward. And in a world engineered to trigger that promise at every scroll, every notification, every flash sale, the hijacking is constant. So here's where you are. You are carrying a brain that hoards, that panics at loss, that cannot emotionally connect to the future, and that releases pleasure chemicals in anticipation of spending. And you are living inside an economy staffed by entire teams of behavioral scientists who know exactly how those systems work and have built every interface, every price point, every subscription model to exploit them. This is not a motivation problem. This is a design problem. But here is what makes this different from a losing battle. The same research that exposed these glitches also found the workarounds. Kahneman showed that when you frame a financial decision as a loss, not, I'll save $50, but I'll lose $50 if I don't, the brain responds. Thaler pioneered what he called commitment devices, ways of locking your future self into decisions your present self can't undo. Automatic transfers, retirement contributions pulled before your paycheck ever touches your account. Rules that remove the moment of temptation entirely, because the brain doesn't change, but the environment around it can. You didn't choose this wiring. No one did. It is ancient, and it is powerful, and for most of human history, it was exactly right. The instinct to grab, to hoard, to fear loss, to live in the present. Those instincts kept your ancestors alive through droughts and predators and uncertainty that made a bad investment look like nothing. But you are not on the savannah. You are somewhere with a credit card in your pocket and a phone in your hand designed to make you spend. And the next time you make a purchase you didn't plan for, something small, something that felt completely reasonable in the moment, you will know exactly what happened. It wasn't weakness. It was 200,000 years of survival instinct meeting a world it was never built for.